This is Jeff Noedel reporting for CNL2 from Friday Harbor, Washington. There's a phenomenon in Seattle that's pretty cool. It's called pop-ups. It's simple. Someone who's good at what they do but doesn't have a real business yet rents some empty space for a day or a few days or a few weeks. They don't intend to put a nickel in the storefront because they'll be gone as fast as they moved in. But Seattle hipsters love pop-ups because there's something totally new in food or fashion or cell phone covers. Rural towns don't experience pop-ups with the same gusto, but we sort of have our pop-ups too. The Oriental rug salesman who sells rugs from Brickworks for a weekend. In a way, all the fantastic bakeries who have booths at the farmers markets are pop-ups. Well, a very different sort of pop-up appeared out of thin air on the San Juan County Fair weekend in August. I've been told by multiple people in recent years, Washington State Ferry's inter-island service has grown so unreliable that some islanders feel it's too risky to move their show animals to the fairgrounds. Sad. That's bad enough, but in August of 2023, people actually got stranded on San Juan Island when Washington State Ferries starts what now looks like an even faster slide into even more unreliable inter-island service.
This problem has forced our community of islands to no longer be a community of islands.
This is Ed Andrews, one of the 5 founders of Community Water Taxi.
We are fearful of going to another island for fear of getting stuck there without our children, without being able to come home and care for our dogs, be with our spouse in the high season. If that's not coming back, where does that leave you? It leaves you sleeping in your car, in all likelihood, because all of the hotels and Airbnbs, if you can afford those, are full. I would not wish my mother sleeping in a car all night because the ferry went down. So we need to solve those problems.
Back in August, during the county fair debacle, there was no community water taxi yet. Practically as a reflex, Tom Bridge, who holds a Coast Guard master's license, just jumped into action. Bridge just started moving people between the islands, and the need has been growing ever since.
One of the other options for this program is to pilot program. It's an experiment. We're doing it, to pick up the slack and to make sure that our island community, keeps its connections. It's very important that those connections are maintained.
If the response in August was a pop-up, it's very clear now that this is a service that needs to stay. Last week, Washington State Ferry's inter-island service was canceled for several mornings in a row due to crewing shortages. But an islander needed to get to Friday Harbor for chemotherapy. Any cancer patient will tell you an infusion date is a date that must be kept. On a dark, blustery day, there was Tom Bridge shuttling that cancer patient across the choppy sea. The patient kept their appointment. Tom Bridge says a little mosquito fleet is an ideal backup when WSF doesn't run.
Oh, yeah, that's it's basically a little aluminum fishing boat, pretty standard kind of boat, low 20-foot boat, standard outboard power. A lot of people have that kind of boat, fits on a trailer in your garage, sort of vessel. Not particularly large expense or, big operating expenses, which is great for this kind of operation where you're looking for cost efficiency.
Using efficient smaller boats and paying an experienced captain for the fuel used, plus a small wage, Community Water Taxi has figured out each one-way trip needs to cost about $40. But they know that's not realistic for a lot of people, so they need a subsidy for these runs. Ed Andrews has been researching what passengers might be able to pay.
If you were to use a service like this, how much would you be willing to pay? About a third of the people said 5 to 10. Another third said 10 to 20. So let's say if we take, they're willing to pay $10 a direction. Tom makes, to break even, has to charge 40. That says we need subsidies in the $30 range.
Community Water Taxi hopes to create an economic model that involves multiple experienced captains on efficient, smaller boats. These captains will be independent operators, not working directly for CWT, maybe a little like Uber for the waters between the San Juans. This is the work of the 5-member leadership team of CWT, Captain Tom Bridge, Ed Andrews, who's handling the PR, Carrie Eskridge, Executive Directors of the Orcas Chamber, Justin Paulson, Community Advocate, and Sandy Playa, EV Land Transportation Liaison. Ed Andrews alone estimates he's working 12 hours a week on this, unpaid. Who knows how many hours Tom Bridge has worked on this since August? There's a great sense of mission among these 5 heroes. Why? Ed Andrews describes the toll WSF's problems are taking on island life and in the minds of thousands of people here.
I haven't been to the county fair in years. I have friends who are farmers here who have not been able to get their animals back. I don't go to other islands unless I really, really have to go have lunch with a friend, to go to Aurora Farms on San Juan Island, to go to horse drawn on Lopez, to go on a hike. I just, I'm a type 1 diabetic. And so the idea of like, for some reason, I actually forget to bring my medicines. We're all human and it happens sometimes. That would be too much for me. And I think a lot of people are nervous and worried, even when the ferries are running on time and they're running fine. You're in the back of your head, you're always wondering, is it going to break down? Am I going to be stuck here? And you're not feeling comfortable about that. That worry doesn't go away until you get on that ferry and you're headed home.
So here we are today, Community Water Taxi, a pop-up organization of can-do activists from Orcas and Crane Islands, wants to be more than a pop-up. San Juan County's travel voucher is the first step toward creating the financial infrastructure that moves Community Water Taxi from pop-up to critical infrastructure here. Even the state of Washington is talking about supporting our Community Water Taxi, as they should. If WSF's inter-island service was operating as taxpayers expect and deserve, CWT probably would never have popped up in the first place. However, talk at the state level supporting CWT is just that, talk. Talk doesn't hire a dispatcher, so boat captains aren't fielding calls at 3:30 in the morning, are answering cell calls standing in the rain on docks. The boats shuttling our neighbors to their jobs, to their infusions. These boats run on gas, not talk. Engineers have found ways to power engines with liquefied natural gas, electricity, hydrogen, the used vegetable oil from deep fryers, but not talk. Bridge says a $3,000 donation from anyone, anywhere, would buy time and subsidize up to 100 trips for islanders in need. Maybe the state will move past the talk phase by the time the 100 subsidized trips have happened. But somehow, some way, we need to move Community Water Taxi out of the pop-up phase and into a financially secure business model that countyans can rely on. Since the return to WSF service we enjoyed for years is apparently years away. San Juan County's Community Water Taxi wants to get past the pop-up phase because what pops up can also pop away for good. Reporting for CNL2 in Friday Harbor, Washington, this is Jeff Noedel.